Hi, Ariel Hernandez here. I wanted to show you guys how you can put checklists on each of the categories in your pipeline and in opportunities. So writing command, if you click here in opportunities, you'll notice that you have three pipelines: your listing pipeline, your buyer's pipeline, and your leases pipeline. Now, each pipeline has categories, right? Your cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. And under each one of these categories, you have stages. So if I go right, let's use listings as an example. If I go right into the cultivate right category, I have my different stages here. Watch 6 months, 3 to 6 months, within 3 months, within 30 days. If I go to appointment, scheduling, scheduled, kept. If I go to active, staging, showing, negotiations. Under contract, escrow, inspections, appraisal, financing, right? So I got different categories here, right? Different stages. And so you can add a checklist in each one so that the moment you put a opportunity, right, into it, it will automatically populate that checklist in there for you, right? So let me go ahead and show you here. I'm going to go into the listing pipeline and let's go right in the beginning. Right, so I'm going to do cultivate, watch, nurture, and hot. Right, and I already have one in there. If you go to the top right corner where it says edit stages, that's where you can edit each one of these stages here, right? The watch, the nurture, or the hot when you're trying to nurture or cultivate a lead. So I already have some examples here. In your case, you would have 0 out of 0. This would be completely blank. But you would click right on that checklist. And that's where you can start adding, right? What do you want it to happen? So when I'm watching a lead, I need to make sure that I get the lead's phone number, their email, their current address, and that I update the database as needed. So you can add all of those just by hitting add item and typing it in. So I'll give you another example here. Let's go to, let's say, appointments, edit stages. And I'm going to come in here. I have, for when I'm trying to schedule the appointment, I want to pull up tax information, create a listing folder, prepare a listing presentation, and prepare a CMA, right? And so how do you add those? Well, let's say here in the kept, obtain signed listing agreement, right? Follow up on the listing agreement and all. But let's say I want to do a lot more than just that after the meeting. Well, I can come in here and actually have a list here. So I can say, okay, send a thank you video from outside the home. So as soon as I'm done with the listing agreement, I want to send them a thank you video. Hey, thank you for meeting with me. You know, it's been a great honor and I'm excited to work with you. You'll be receiving a call shortly from my team, right? And I want that to be the first thing I do. Then I can obtain the signed listing agreement and all, okay? Let's just say I want to come back and I want to go to DocuSign and send all the basic disclosures for the seller to sign. Save, right? And so you start adding all these different checklists of everything that you want to be able to do during that time, right? Right after the appointment was done. Let's say we're active right now and we're staging, we're preparing the property to show. Okay, great. I want to make sure the property is clean, right? Professional pictures, upload in the MLS, do the for sale sign, Supra, right? So obtain the keys, install the for sale sign, right? I want to be able to obtain the condo, if it's a condo, right? Obtain the condo association contact information and everything. And so you put everything that you want to be able to do. Now, what is this client update? This client update here is you can actually program command so that at the end of the day, at a certain time, it will send an email to the client with whatever you checked off for that day, right? So let's say, and if you check it here, if you check this box off, that means that that is something that you want your client to know. So I don't need my client to know that the property was cleaned, but I do need him to know that the professional pictures were completed. So I want that checked off. And I do want him to know that it was uploaded in the MLS. And I do want him to know that we already installed the for sale sign. But he doesn't need to know that we put a super on it or that we called to get the association's information. right? So I want him to know about these 3 things. Great. Now, let's say that I completed these 3 things today, right? So I would have done this from the beginning, right? And this goes for any client because I'm doing it here in the edit active stages. So whatever I do here will apply to any client that I put under that specific stage, right? The staging stage. Great. So we've got that completed. I'm going to hit save. And you continue doing the rest one. While you're showing, right? I got an open house. I want the client to know. When I do reverse prospecting, I want the client to know. When I do Facebook posts, when I do my email campaign, but he doesn't need to know when I'm doing door knocking. Great. Negotiating, right? When we have accepted the offer and when we're comparing the offers. I don't need him to know when we're doing price reductions or anything, right? If we did the price reduction. Great. Now I'm going to go back. And if you notice, I got my cards here. These are all my different properties, or my different sellers. If I move that card over, let's say to showing, that new checklist appears. So the moment I click on it, I have open house, reverse prospecting, and these are all the different things that I want the client to know. So the moment that I click on open house, right? Let's say I completed all 3 of these today. Great. Because it has this section here checked off, today I have it programmed. Today at 6 o'clock, an email is going to go out and it's going to tell the client that all 3 of these have been completed today. Now, how can you program at what time you want the client to receive those notifications every day? Well, let me uncheck these. If you go back to edit stages and right here, you see what says client updates. If I click on that little settings icon, that's going to bring me over to my settings, over to the client update settings. And I can decide here, right? I can decide here at what time, let's say I want 6 o'clock p.m. going to be sent from me, the owner of the opportunity. And it's going to be sent to either the primary client or the client and the co-client if there's 2, right? If you have a seller and co-seller, buyer and co-buyer. And I also want to receive a copy myself too. And you can see here a preview of how it's going to look like. So we're going to click on there. And this is how the email is going to look like, right? So I'll have your branded information. I'll have the name of the client. So John Smith, we're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks completed for the address of the property, right? And then I'll say checklist item 1, checklist item 2, checklist item 3, right? All the different items that I checked off will be named right there. And then by your side every step, Ariel Hernandez, and then my information and everything, right? And then they can click to download the app. So this is very useful, and it's a great way to update your clients every day on what's being completed, right, automatically. So you save the changes. Great, it's been updated perfectly. And now we can go back to the opportunity. So everything that I click here, my client would be advised at the end of the day at the time that I put in the settings. And that's how you can add checklists, right, to each of the categories. And you can do that on each of the pipelines. So just go back. Now you do the buyer. Great. When you're active searching or showing or negotiating, what do you want to remember, right? What checklist do you want to create to remember when you're doing that, right? And then the same thing for the leases. When you have an active lease, right, that you're showing application submitted or legacy, what checklists do you want to have for each one of those steps or each one of those stages so you don't forget? And every time you move a card over into that category, that new checklist will appear and you can check off everything, and you're always up to date with all of your clients and you know everything that has happened in that transaction for that client. All right. Hope this was useful for you. If you have any questions, please contact me and have a wonderful day.